Welcome to the Live Young Instagram Live. I'm here with my good friend Rob Huffland, who has
what
been
was that?
Huffland. Literally, it's a brain thing I have. Rob Huffland. His contact will be in the caption below. But today we are talking about movement and exercise and the 4 types of exercise you need for longevity. So that's what the show is about. So we're sitting down and talking and probably standing up and moving with Rob.
You mean 4 different categories?
4 different categories of exercise. Yeah, 4 different categories of exercise that are necessary, high for craft's sake, and so important for longevity. And those are strength training, that's flexibility, that's balance work, and that's conditioning. So these 4 things. It used to be, and I know, right? It used to be that, Rob, they used to say this thing where strength plus flexibility equals mobility, but there's so much more to longevity than just strength and flexibility. There's balance, there's that heart rate variability, the conditioning, cardiovascular stuff, the cardiovascular conditioning that is so important. But there's a new movement now with the strong is the new skinny. So let's talk a little bit about that and about the movement, especially in midlife, to build muscle mass. And
I remember the last 10 years it was leg day is the new chest day or something like that.
Ooh, I haven't heard that one before. Leg day is the new chest day. That's a good one. But it's in longevity when we're looking to function and move the way that we're moving now through life, throughout the lifespan. It takes a lot of getting up off of your ass, right? You got to move. The whole saying of move it or lose it, that's a real thing.
True.
So, okay, we're going to start with strength training. Why? Because we lose muscle mass beginning in 25. So we've got this muscle growth from birth to 25. Same with collagen. We got this muscle growth and collagen growth from birth to 25, and then from 25 to 65, there is a loss of muscle mass of 8 to 10% per year. That seems crazy, but really...
That's also why they say I know you have a different opinion on it, but they say to increase your protein after the age of 50.
Yeah, I've read after the age of 65,
Or
increase your protein, but there's 3 major ages where your muscle mass kind of tanks, and that is 50. And a lot of that is midlife women. 65 is a big one. And so for longevity, a lot of longevity scientists say increase your protein intake at 65. And 75 for men, the muscle mass just tanks more so at 75 for men than for...
something to do with the lack of testosterone.
Yeah, that lack of testosterone. So the way that I look at working out and the way that I look at strength training is the science shows that your muscles are made in the gym, not in the kitchen. So Rob is a vegan. If I made Rob take off his shirt, you would be like, this guy should be a superhero, and he auditions for a lot of those parts.
No, villain.
That's true. A lot of villain parts too. 3 to 5% of muscle per decade, not 10%. I just listened to the Peter Attia podcast, and he said before 25 years old, we're building muscle as we grow, but new studies have come out that show 8 to 10% muscle loss per year from the age 25 to 75. So think about this.
There's probably reasons for that.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily everyone.
Sure. Not necessarily everybody, but statistically speaking, people, especially, hormones play a big role. So hormone replacement therapy and muscle mass very closely tied together, especially women in menopause. It's not just our estrogen that dips, our testosterone dips as well. Mm-hmm. And in replacing all those hormones with bioidentical hormones really do make a big difference in muscle mass. But this was the new study that came out. So if you think about that, let's just say you're even on that big end, the 10% of muscle mass per year. That's like somebody who's sedentary, right?
That's what I was going to
say.
So it's not necessarily
so when you're
active.
Exactly. When you're looking at the average, I get that 1 to 3% per year, but then you get this sharp decline in these 3 age groups, 50, That's just based on the research. There's a sharp decline, 65 a sharp decline, and 75 a sharp decline. So 8 to 10% muscle loss per year from 25 to 75.
Yeah, and also probably an increase in body fat percentage and whatnot. And a lot of that also has to deal with due to the fact that we become less active, and it's not necessarily because our those things happen not necessarily because our metabolism slows down, but it's more or less because we get tired, because we're a little bit older and we don't want to do as much, and so the less activity that we end up doing is a result, or then results in loss of muscle,
It's
and
like a
increased
cycle.
body fat.
It's
So
like a cycle.
I
You
know.
lose muscle mass because our hormones dip. We lose muscle mass. The loss of muscle mass makes us more inactive.
Yep.
The inactivity causes more muscle mass loss.
It takes more effort when you lose muscle.
Yeah,
When you have more muscle, it does not take a lot of effort to do things like walking up a hill, or lifting, whatever. It makes everything easier when you have more muscle.
Exactly. And it also affects your metabolism, because it affects the metabolism, and it also affects hydration, because muscle contains more water. So when you have less muscle mass, like with
That's why you should
older
have
age,
creatine.
that's true. Creatine is a great addition for
It's
muscle
the
mass
most
and for
studied supplement on the planet.
yeah. I find that fascinating, and I put a scoop into my
And creatine
water
helps
and
you
drink
hold
that.
on to water
Yeah.
into the muscle so you can do more.
That's so. I love that. I didn't know that part. That it lets your muscle hold
It's
on to
hydration.
water.
Yeah, it helps hold on to. That's one of the reasons why some people are saying, "Oh, I feel bloated" or whatnot. Like, "Oh, creatine monohydrate makes me bloated," or "I feel bigger or puffy" or whatever. That may happen in the beginning because of you're getting used to it. Yeah,
Scoot closer to me.
but for the most, it hydrates your muscles, so your muscles are able to hold on to a little bit more water, and you're able to work out and do more.
Yes, I love that. I love that about creatine. But in general, my philosophy is muscles are made in the gym, not in the kitchen. Not in your smoothie. They're made in the gym. You actually have to tear that muscle fiber to get it to build.
Yeah, microtrauma.
So, what is the formula? And listen, you guys, I can take some questions too, but I want to know, like, what is the formula? Before we get into the formula, not only, I missed one thing, because not only are we talking about hydration, but we're talking about metabolism when it has to do with muscle mass. Because the bigger muscle mass you have, the more your composition is muscle versus fat. The muscles are like calorie burning machines.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? It takes more energy to make muscle than it does fat, and it takes more energy to maintain it.
You're talking about maintenance, yeah.
Yeah, you can eat more when you have more muscle.
Yeah.
Because you have to maintain it more. So think about that in terms of like boosting your metabolism, right?
Yeah, but
what
also
creatine?
it's better to eat the correct things.
Well,
don't eat the freaking Cheetos.
Exactly. Well, that is true. Absolutely true. You are what you eat. We got a question. What creatine brand do you guys recommend?
I use a pre-workout that has it in it, but there are some good brands. I think do you make a creatine now?
I don't have a creatine supplement
so
yet, but I do have.
So the one that I use is a pre-workout that I use is called JYM. I've been using it for 12, 13 years. I like it because it's properly dosed, but you can also get creatine on its own without the caffeine and other additives like beta-alanine and citrulline and things designed for workouts. God, what was it? My dad takes this brand.
Wait, somebody just said, as I eat a brownie.
Nice.
As you're eating a brownie. You know,
Thorn, I think.
Thorn is. I was trying
Thorn,
to like.
that's
I
the
literally.
Thorn.
I have.
I think they have.
I have Thorn
creatine, and
powder.
they're a good company,
That
a
is a good
reputable company.
Okay, so here is what I'm wanting, specifically why I asked you here, because I get this question all the time. Now, we've already talked about the 4 different types. We haven't gone into detail, but we talked about the 4 different types of exercise or movement you need for longevity. Strength training is number 1 for so many reasons.
Yeah.
But strength training is number one, right? And unless you've been living under a rock for the last 5 years, you'll notice that there's a movement away from cardio, massive amounts of cardio, and into strength training.
Not to say the cardio is bad.
Not to say the cardio is bad, because it is one of the 4 types of, it's the conditioning, right? So strength training, flexibility, balance work, and conditioning. But I want to get into, what do you need to do to actually maintain muscle? So let's say we know that our body's going to be declining with muscle as we age, in these specifically, over the lifetime, but specifically in these big 50, 65, and 75. Big drops there. What can we do to maintain, just like I don't want to build, I always want to build, but I don't want to build, but I want to maintain. What do you have to do? How many reps, and what's the situation?
Okay, so rule of thumb is 5 sets of resistance training per muscle group is maintenance, and if you increase that, such as 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 per muscle group, you're going to start to build. However, building, and this is...
You lost me already. Wait a second. Start from the beginning. Wait, you need 5 to 6...
No, I said 5 sets.
5 sets.
Per week.
Per
muscle group.
Oh.
So if I want to keep my bicep, I do 5 sets of curls a week. It doesn't matter the variation. However, that becomes a little bit more...
nuanced.
Well, you're then working the long head or the short head, so
Yeah.
you become a little bit more goal oriented. Like, I want more here, I want more here.
You want the pretty. You want the. You're looking at the.
And this is just an example, but you do 5 sets of
5
curls,
sets.
but you also have to stress the muscle to a point, such as go to. You don't necessarily have to go to
in other
failure,
words, 5 sets like this.
Not with those weights.
Does not count.
Right? Not with those.
If I did 5 sets of 15, this is like a 2-pound weight.
Not to.
And I did this 5 days a week.
Soul Cycle, or what's the Peloton?
Oh,
that one.
You know what?
Not to discredit that.
I take a class in Equinox where we use these little 2-pound weights.
Are we getting a paid shout out from Equinox?
No, just a free shout out for Equinox.
That we both go to.
Because we both go there, but they use these little weights, but they use them to the point where you literally cannot lift your arms anymore.
But it's like
I'm like this.
What's his name? Bruce
Bruce
Lee says a glass of water weighs so little, but if you hold it out, that weight becomes incredibly useful.
So try holding a 2-pound weight out like this for like a whole class, and you're doing various things with it. You're like.
Yeah, that's an isometric hold, but that would be good, but maybe it's not necessarily building strength, because strength itself is a different word.
I kind of look at that as the
different type of strength. Sure.
I look at that as conditioning, because when I take those classes and I'm not lifting heavy and I'm using these little weights like this.
Your heart rate is how high?
My heart rate is high. I don't test it. My heart rate is high though, and it's I feel like it's working muscle endurance.
Yes.
When I'm using these light weights. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about
getting stronger, being able to lift yourself up, being able to put something heavy on a shelf.
We just got a question. Do you guys have any tips or suggestions for doing a best cardio but not indoor?
Hiking.
Get outside.
I love hiking.
Yes, we do. Hold on.
If you follow me at all, you're going to... Yeah, it's right there. Follow me. I'm at the Hollywood sign all the time.
And it's so interesting that he's always at the Hollywood sign. I'm like, God, that's such a...
I love that hike.
It's a bitch of a hike.
The first time.
You know what? There's just a lot of sunshine on the way, and so I felt like I was slathered in so much sunscreen and a hat, and I was like, oh, it's not my thing. I can't be outdoors that long. Okay, so that was a great question. The question was, do you have any tips or suggestions for doing the best cardio but not indoors? Remember, hiking, rucking. Using a weighted vest like this, and it's a really good. It's a really good. That's in the conditioning part. So I don't want to I don't want to say. We don't want to say cardio's bad.
No, it's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
It's walking is one of the greatest things you can ever do. It's
just sometimes I feel that a lot of midlife women who have been working out the same way their entire life. They're doing the aerobics classes. They're doing classes where they're sweating and sweating and sweating and sweating and sweating, and that's what they've done their whole life, just know that when you get to midlife, that cardio can start eating into muscle.
Especially if you don't have a good diet. Because that comes back to the protein and also other things such as vitamins and minerals. The ones that you really need.
Yeah, exactly. But I know people that's all they do. I have clients that I'm like, what do you do for exercise? I spend an hour on the treadmill every day.
That's not good. That's too much for too little payoff.
Yeah. So here's.
I do 60 minutes of weight training. That's it.
You do 16?
6-0.
Oh, I was gonna say that's an odd number. I do exactly 16 minutes.
16
of weight training.
60.
I have a client that's all they do though is they can't figure out why they can't lose weight, why they can't build muscle, why they still have a spare tire, and all.
That doesn't build muscle.
I know. That's what I'm trying to tell them. We have to change the way we exercise.
So I would say
as we age.
I would say you just did a great job in putting categories. So I would say categories: weightlifting, resistance training, that is used to build muscle, and done correctly with addition of cardiovascular work. That will burn fat.
Yeah.
But you can also burn fat with weightlifting. In the manner of which you do it, like triceps, circuits, and giant sets, things like that. But you separate the exercises for what they're intended for, such as weightlifting, resistance training is there to build muscle, and then cardiovascular is there to usually burn fat or help
with your heart. So for those of you who have you're like, I don't even know where to start.
It's just like people go stretching. What is that for? That's another breakdown. I'm going to stretch for flexibility.
For flexibility.
So that's just categorizing. So once you categorize it, then you know I have to hit this, I have to hit this, I have to hit this.
And so I'm saying there's 4 things. It's not just strength training and cardiovascular work. It's balance and it's flexibility. And let me tell you a little story of how important that is. And we'll get back into this in a second. But how important flexibility is. It's so important that it will stop you from being injured. And there's a part of a time when I used to ski a lot when I was married to my first husband. I don't like skiing. It's not my thing.
It's too cold.
I don't like being cold. And he grew up on an island. I can't even imagine you in the snow. You'd probably
I actually kind of like snowboarding.
You'd probably seriously?
An ex-girlfriend taught me to snowboard in the Swiss Alps. So
I'm shocked about that. What you would do for a girl? That is not that's not in your genetics.
No, it's not in my genetics at all. But I really enjoyed it. When you're up there and and you
beautiful.
go, oh my God, it's so pretty. But
it's
then
so
also
pretty.
when you're actually doing it, you get hot. So it was fine. But sorry, never mind. Go on.
Okay.
Sorry.
Let's wait. Hold on one second. Before that story, Sam says, I tried a 10-mile hike in an elevated mountain range, but I got suggested it'll be best if I do like a slow jog or something like that very early in the morning.
It's total preference.
It's
total preference.
However, you have to move.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't listen if your knees hurt. Don't jog.
I'm not a big
back
jogger.
Hurts, I don't jog. I mean, I do. I run to a tennis ball.
Yeah, if there's a ball involved. If somebody's chasing me or there's a ball involved, I can run.
Think that hiking is way better than jogging because your heart rate is going to be there's going to be a lot more variation with the heart rate as opposed to jogging, which is going to be steady.
Yes.
So you're going to have a better variation when you do hiking, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we do talk about this.
But whatever works for you, works for you.
Being in that zone 2 cardio, that's that light jog where you can still carry on a conversation, but it's pretty steady. And a lot of different scientists talk about, zone 2 cardio, and a lot of different classes and Equinox talk about, it's a zone 2 cardio thing. And that just means that you can get that swimming, you can get that with a light jog.
So what they're also saying is that is where the fat is metabolized for energy as well.
Yeah,
that's
so
what they mean by
you are metabolizing fat, but
however,
I personally think, and you tell me your however, and I'll tell you
however, how much glycogen you have in your muscle and also in your blood determines how much fat you actually burn. So because if you have a higher amount of glycogen, that's going to be used for energy before fat is.
Yeah.
So
where
that
intermittent
is a
fasting
however.
comes. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
so
where
you
intermittent
get-
fasting comes in.
Where you can, yeah. So that is also determinant on what is being utilized
Yeah.
for energy. So it's better to just have a good diet as opposed to relying on that.
I will tell you this, and all of the science will back this up. If you're looking to lose weight, exercise is not the most important thing you can do. It's what you put in your body.
100%.
We think we expend so much energy when we're exercising, and everybody overestimates that. We're not expending as much, a lot of energy in terms of like, depending on what you're doing. If you're on a treadmill, and there's a treadmill behind, I
no,
pushed
it's
it to
not.
the side and pushed it over there.
That's an elliptical.
It's an elliptical.
She hates cardio.
It's not that I hate it. I feel that if I have a choice of exercising, I want to do conditioning. So walking with a weighted vest. Why? Up and down hills. Because I'm getting high, like a high intensive interval training type of thing. I'm adding weight to my body, which is helping with bone density, especially for my midlife women. Adding 10% of your body weight in something like a weighted vest and going on a brisk walk, you're then not only in that zone 2 cardio, but you're working on, is it raining?
It's raining.
It's raining.
I'm sorry.
But there goes a chicken. It's like, it's okay. But you're not only working on, we have a lot of those, your zone 2 cardio, but you're working on bone density and you're working on endurance. So when I use something like this, I don't run anymore. I have ran the LA Marathon when I was 10 years ago. I can't believe I did
with
that.
your foot surgery.
With my
right
foot,
after foot surgery.
right before.
Right before I
Yeah.
meant.
I'm like, I'm going to run the LA Marathon and then I'll have surgery on my feet. And Rob trained me through
The day after.
the day after my surgery. My doctor wasn't very happy.
I was scared.
Basically, you could tell exercise has been a part of my life for a very long time. But
I
Sam,
didn't even do
that's
that
saying
for my
like
surgery.
when you didn't even do that after your knee surgery.
No way.
But that said, if you have a choice, if you are so deconditioned that you haven't worked out in years, or you're recovering from an injury, or you don't know where to start now. And that is, get up off your ass. No matter where you are, your rate of mortality is going to be very different if you have a sedentary life or you are literally moving. So make your body as much as you can be in motion with multiple different things. And that's strength training, that's flexibility work like yoga, Pilates, or just setting your own stretching kind of routine every night, which I do, or get into yoga. And that's the flexibility of it, that's the strength training, that's the conditioning. So I look at this as like conditioning. I'd rather do this and get outside on hills.
Can I tell you a thing with this?
Yeah, tell me.
So there's actually a study that people who lose weight, like once you lose the weight, if you're walking, running, whatever, you weigh 150, let's say 140 pounds, and you lose 10 pounds. Now you're going to start to slowly, it's not going to be as easy to lose more weight because you've lost those 10 pounds that you were holding on to, which, you're using more energy carrying those extra 10 pounds. So what people do, and bodybuilders do this, they add things like this and wear them to put that weight back on to continue that.
So you don't plateau.
So you don't plateau.
So
there are studies that even bodybuilders will wear this all the time.
Really?
Once they drop weight,
I
they
know
start to
midlife
wear
women
that all the time to mimic the weight that they've lost, so that they continue to have that type of energy expenditure.
I love it.
So rucking is something that is that's been used a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, funny story.
Go ahead.
Hollywood sign. Saw Robert Pattinson wearing one of those.
Really?
Yeah.
If you guys are interested in something like this, you want to aim for something that's about 10% of your body weight. So start small. You can always go up, because 10% of your body weight, if I'm out on a 45-minute hike in these little hills here,
it adds up.
I'm breathing pretty heavy when I'm going up a hill. I can still have a conversation, so I know I'm in zone 2 cardio. I can still have a conversation. It might be edging up towards that VO2 max.
No, well, I wouldn't say VO2 max. Unless you're,
that's like when you're like sprinting.
Yeah.
No, but it's definitely.
Yeah, I would say 2, 3.
It adds. It definitely 100%. Adds to the conditioning. Anyways, okay, let's get back.
Do you have to do that thing?
Oh yeah, I do, because that's. Let me tell you that story first.
Yeah.
But I get hungry. Sam is, but it gets me so hungry, like I crave junk food more, which I feel like I don't. That's
habit. That's not. So you get it out of your system.
Look at those arms. Not afraid of 50. Thank you.
Wait, what happened?
Not afraid of 50, which I love the handle. Look at those arms, Darnell.
Nice.
Feminine_phenomenon says, as a 34-year-old, your body is my goal. Oh my God, that's so. I'm 56. That's a good
40.
compliment. He's 40. He just turned 40.
Benjamin Button.
What's that?
Benjamin Button.
Benjamin Button. We're aging in reverse. I want to tell you this story though about how flexibility. We want to get back to that formula. I want to get back to the story about flexibility. There was a time when I used to ski.
Yeah.
Don't like skiing, but I used to ski. So my kids have grown up skiing, and I can get down a mountain because I've been conditioning my body since I was in my 20s. Like I haven't gone large periods of time without working out. And so I fall on this mountain, and my ski is
I think I remember
up.
This.
Yeah, is up. I'm like, yeah, it's behind my head. So my ski's going this way. Sorry, Rob, you're out of the. Rob's right here. Okay, my ski's going this way over my head, and I'm sliding down a mountain like this, and my kids are in horror at the bottom of the mountain, come rushing to me. Mom, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine. Got up, nothing had happened. I'm like, I was already in motion. I figured I'm gonna hurt myself if I try to stop myself. I'm just gonna slide down. So I was just sliding down, my ski above my head, waiting for me to stop. And but the thought is, if I were unable to put my leg like that from years of yoga and from really focusing on flexibility, I would have broken a hip, I would have broken a femur, I would have broken something, because it was in a position, and I was laying flat down, so it was in a position that looked to my children as if I had seriously injured myself. So you have to think about that when we lose muscle mass beginning at the age of 25. We also, and collagen dips, we also lose our flexibility. So being in things like yoga and things like that are super important, or having your stretching exercise, because it will diminish your risk of injuries.
I will also say that when you do resistance training, you're not going to decrease your flexibility in it. People decrease flexibility in resistance training by not training to the full range of motion. Granted, you may want size in your glutes or in your bicep or something like that, and you shorten the movement to focus on a specific area. But when you get full range of motion to the joint, the muscles that are surrounding the joint are going to be flexed and extended to their fullest.
Yeah.
And so you will increase your flexibility when you exercise correctly. So resistance training should be done, in my opinion, because I like flexibility like you. I play sports. I'm a tennis player, and
I've seen you in a shot, almost in a split with your tennis racket.
My arm can go. But I think that again, range of motion, better range of motion, you're going to have less pain in your body.
Yeah. So
joints, if you decrease range of motion in the joint, you're going to have more pain in your.
I'm going to give you guys an example. I'm going to set this back for a second. Hold on. I used to do, every year I would do a squat challenge.
Oh, down to the ground?
Yeah. So instead of doing a regular squat where I just go squat, you sit as if you're sitting down. That's a pretty deep squat. Here's how I started doing my squats when I'm at home, not in the gym. But I'll do a squat all the way down, almost as if I'm in a melasma.
That's called astagrass.
Astagrass. Yeah, astagrass. I love that. Astaground, cement right now. So I would do that kind of squat where I'm getting full, like I could literally sit down on the ground.
Not everyone could do that, but my opinion is you should try to get as best a range of motion as you can, especially in squats, especially in movements like you do chest press, you do push-ups, you do all of that, dips. When I do that, I go here. I try to get the greatest range of motion if I do a chest press, even if I have to lift lighter.
Right.
To start, and then I build on it because I want my shoulder health to be great. I don't want to feel pain. Same thing with my squats. I've had knee surgery, and I want my knees to feel good. If I don't have good range of motion in my knees, they won't feel good, and it won't protect me if I were to fall.
Right.
If I were to trip. If I were to, all of that stuff is preventative for everything. So range of motion is, my opinion, directly related to feeling better.
Absolutely.
Or less pain in life.
Absolutely. Okay. And so you can get that range of motion anytime you have range of, like, honestly, I know so many older people that cannot reach to grab something out of the cabinet.
However, there is like the frozen shoulder and whatnot. That is a buildup of calcium and whatnot that needs to be remedied by a doctor.
So that's why it's like I want to say you're never too old to start, and start now, and you can start by just literally standing up and moving. That's how you start an exercise routine.
Also, squats increase testosterone and human growth hormone, so you get a better bang for your buck when it comes to other exercises.
That's so interesting. You know, squats are also, there's a couple indicators of longevity when it comes to exercise. Some of them make sense to me, and some of them do not. Squats, your ability to do squats, like a certain amount of squats at a certain age, increases your likelihood of living so many years longer. Wall sits, grip strength, like just a hang. Now, this is where a dead hang. This is where I feel like everybody's different. Every body is different, and just because you see these challenges on Instagram of like, let's hang for 60 seconds. I think the hang for a woman is supposed to be 90 seconds over the age of 40, and a hang for a man is supposed to be, if you're in good health, 2 minutes over the age of 40.
I think that we have to be careful when following challenges on social media.
Exactly what I was going to say.
I'm just like I cringe when I hear a challenge on thing. I absolutely believe that there is some merit to some of the things, like squat every day. Like one of my clients I'm doing a 30-day squat challenge. I'm like, great, you're not adding weight to it. No, just on certain days. Great, that sounds wonderful. But squatting every day, I think that's wonderful for you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know, I think that those type of movements are absolutely. We do them every day anyway.
We do them every day.
Just like lunges. A lot of people hate lunges, but what do lunges mimic? Walking.
Yeah.
So it's range
and
of motion.
It's range of motion.
Range of motion.
It's range of motion.
So lunges are phenomenal as well.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so let's get back to our little formula for a second. I want to talk about that grip strength though, because I have not timed myself to hang. My hands, let me see your hand.
I was just thinking about...
My hands are tiny, you guys. I'm almost like an elf. Okay.
I was actually just thinking about hanging because you know at Runyon, like there's that pole that I'll grab and I'll hang on to.
Yes, and you'll just hang there. And Rob will tell you, I've always struggled with my grip strength.
But you have also really, really tiny hands. So
I have really tiny hands.
And so that also is something like, not necessarily weights or the dumbbells or barbells are designed, you know, for smaller hands.
It's not like it's adjustable. The diameter in the circumference of the pull-up bar is not adjustable, right? So if you've got larger hands, you might be able to grip that on a lot more than me, and so it might not be
the biggest indicator.
It's not just because something is an indicator. Irina says I have the tiniest hands too, like a 10-year-old. It's true. It's ridiculous. Honestly, I'm small. I wear a size 5 shoe, and I have teeny tiny hands. So I'm a small person. But yet I've been working out my whole life. So for somebody to say grip strength is a direct, cause or a direct result of like having longer
there are
longevity.
so many more factors to it.
So many more factors. So don't be discouraged, you guys. If you can't do like what I just did, that deep squat into malasana, that I've been practicing that but I've been doing that for a long time. He's got a knee injury or post-surgery, and I don't know if your knee will ever do that, will it?
Well, I have fantastic range of motion, and I could probably get down, but I don't see the point. No, joking. I did legs this morning, and I was doing squats. I like to use wedges for my squats so that I can get slightly over the toes with my knees, and my butt gets lower than my knees, which I think is, for me, or I get to the range of motion that I'm comfortable with for health.
The point being, always challenge your range of motion.
Get the best range
wherever
of motion
you are,
but don't force it.
Yeah.
Like not all at once. You build up to it. Like it took me a while after surgery to be able to do all the things that I can do now.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
Prior.
So let's talk about that formula again, because I want to talk about that formula because when I travel, for building versus maintaining. So for maintaining, everybody, we're just going to recap. For maintaining, you want to work that muscle group
5
sets
per week. Now you can choose 20 reps, you can choose 10 reps, you can choose 5 reps. However, that is determined on how much weight you're using. So if you can get to 20 reps and you can still do another 20, it's probably too light.
That's great.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you can get to 10 reps and you can probably
so like if I can do 20 of these,
do another 2 reps maximum, then that's probably a good place to be.
Okay.
And if you're doing 5, and these are all just different training modules, like like some people will do 1 rep, but do you know how heavy that rep is?
Yeah.
You're not necessarily going to do that, but that's a power lifter. They do.
Right.
That is for their sport. That is for this. But I like to go between the rep range 8 to 12.
And I like to go 10 to 15, and we argue about this all the time.
Never argue.
Not argue, but like I'll get to 10. I'm like, I got 5 more in me, and I'll do them. But
and then I'll say, but we have more stuff to do.
I know. Oh, yeah. So five. One muscle group 5 times a week.
Okay, so. There's
5 sets a week.
There's another,
just to maintain.
Yeah, so there's a lot of studies that are always coming out and whatnot, and so your recovery is better the next day and the day after to be able to do more later on when you do rep ranges of between 8 and 12. Usually it's 10 to 12. When you do rep ranges of 20 to 30, your recovery time is a lot longer.
Oh.
So people that do sets, even if it's like lighter weight, sorry for the thing, 20 to 30 reps, they may not be able to exercise again for 3 days because of the muscle soreness. Not that you can't work out with muscle soreness, but you won't get the same expenditure of energy.
Now, what if we're wanting to build? So let's say somebody on here, I know there was a question, let me just pull down. Oh, Irina says, my lat pull down actually started targeting my lats when I used a thinner bar. Mm-hmm. Because your grip is like, it works so much of my forearms.
It works that.
It doesn't feel like that.
No, but it depends. Well, as soon as you shorten, that's already flexed. So
yeah.
So it's.
But I feel like I'm working my grip, and I'm like, it's making me not concentrate on other things. I like that. I like that solution, Irina.
So there's actually a few bars that they started making in a lot of gyms, and they're more ergonomic for your grip. And so they make targeting your lats a lot better than the old-fashioned bars. So always explore the bars when you're exercising.
Okay.
If one may work better for you than the other. The rotations, those will also target different muscle groups or different muscle fibers. Sorry, not muscle groups. So if you're pulling down with the supinated grip, pronated grip.
Pronated grip.
Neutral grip.
I always remember supinated is like
grip. I know.
eating soup.
Yeah.
Pronated
when you start changing your grip, that's going to change where the muscle is targeting as well. Where the
Gotcha.
muscle is targeted.
Yeah.
English.
Yeah, and that's like the nuances in muscle training. So now if somebody says, okay, I know that I need to start lifting weights. Where do I begin? How do I grow muscle? What's the research out there now that says this many reps, this much of your, percentage of your strength, this many times a week? How do we grow, basically?
Grow. Well, if you have 5 to maintain, it's just adding on to there. However, again, adding on.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just adding on to that. But that's where you get variety. And so instead of choose a muscle group,
I like shoulders.
Well, okay, so the shoulder.
Every time when Rob comes and says, "What do you want to work today?" If he doesn't already have something in his head, I always like to work shoulders.
Okay.
And the reason why I like to work
The
shoulders,
shoulders have 3 heads.
yeah,
Right.
but it
Medial, which is actually a lot smaller,
medial is the middle.
which is small. Front and rear, or anterior posterior. And so,
Anterior, posterior.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so let's say you're okay, so anything pushing above, wider grip, that's going to go here. You can pronate, you can supinate, and that's going to work best. You can raise. If you raise with the pronated grip, that's actually going to work your traps more than it is your shoulders.
That's
I mean,
why-
not more. It's just the percentages. It's about like 60% here, 40% here.
Oh, I
And
do
so
this
you
all
don't
the time.
necessarily want to do it that way. However, if you do this, it becomes a higher percentage here than it does here.
Okay.
So
just changing your grip
the rotation
makes
of the shoulder.
the rotation
Yeah.
of the shoulder. Okay, so now we know. What if somebody says okay?
But I didn't answer the question about like the number or the different.
Okay,
number.
well, let's tell
Well,
me.
I mean, so again, you have this, and that's going here. After a certain number, your traps will start getting involved. You can take your traps out by doing single arm.
I think we need you to
instead.
stand. Does anybody else need like a demo? Can we just do a demo with a weight? Because otherwise, people are going to be like, Rob, you can't possibly do you want to move it? I'll do it with this. Or
So-
you should do it with this.
Do a single.
Okay.
So I would put
Tell
you
me.
on here to go. You're using this for leverage. So for a single arm, I'm too big for this. Right here, and then you would go.
Okay, so you're
You
using
know that-
this for leverage, but you
using-
don't have to. You could just do this standing, right, to go straight out.
You could.
Okay.
You could absolutely do a standing, but I like it personally. Like using
So
that,
just
so
some-
you're kind of holding on to this,
Right.
so you're no longer swinging or.
Right, your body, you're
So
isolating that muscle
so that feels a lot more isolated.
for sure.
So that's one way of doing it with a neutral grip. Now pronate your grip. Pronate.
And still
Pronate
go.
your grip.
That's a neutral grip.
Pronate. Supinate. That's supinate. Pronate. There you go.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. I was like doing. Sorry.
you just
I
did
was
the
like
soup.
for some reason. I know, but I was for some reason. I don't know. I was like the camera. I was like doing
I know,
it
I
towards
got
the
you.
camera
I got
angle.
you.
Ridiculous.
So then you
Okay.
can do that same movement with a pronated grip, and you're still working
You're
your
still working-
medial head, just different muscle fibers. On
yeah,
that
that
angle.
feels very different
Yeah.
on that angle.
And you could also do the same, but you could go, yeah, exactly. You can change it to a supinated grip, and you could do that as well, and you're going to get those different muscle fibers as well.
Yeah.
So
I-
those are 3 variations to one exercise.
I also really like when I work the shoulder out. Well, I guess I could just do this one.
Okay.
Sorry, Rob. I'm like right in front of you. But I also like to kind of bend forward a little bit and keep this elbow a little bit away and do like a bent arm lateral raise.
Yeah. Now here's a good little tip for anyone if they feel their traps involved here. Look down.
Oh, that's a good tip.
So when you look down, you're stretching out the trap, and so now the trap is flexed, so it's not
Ooh,
going to really get
that is a
involved.
big difference. Wait.
So there you'll feel your trap
I
get
feel that
involved
in my
a little
trap.
bit. Now if you look down, you're not going to have as much trap. And I know
I love that.
I know a lot of women don't like that.
No.
I do. I like my traps.
men like their traps built up, but for a woman, it's one of the things that I feel.
Not a lot of people. Let me put this down.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it's my messy garage. By the way, you guys,
This is our makeshift gym.
if you think you have there's an excuse where you can't work out at home or you can't, look at what we've done with this garage. It's a work in progress. It's a home gym that is filled with crap, but we have made space for enough equipment to be able to actually work out. Because I was tired of not having a home gym, and I moved into this house a year ago, but we're still trying to declutter and,
Still works.
wind down. So you can work out anywhere. All you really need is what? You don't even need anything.
Oh, wait.
to
Like
work.
anyone?
Yeah, you don't need any equipment really to start working out. You can use body weight stuff.
You can absolutely use body weight stuff. Actually, that's a good plug for that. I think this is one of the best pieces of equipment for a home gym or like even in your house, the TRX, because a lot of the time we don't get pulling exercises. It's super easy to do push because you can do push-ups on the ground or you can do push-ups on something like this. But this piece of equipment allows you to use gravity and your body weight to actually pull.
We're going to show you this piece of
pulling
equipment.
is super important for posture, for everything.
You know what? I didn't even think about that because it's
You
hard
have to
to
shorten
do.
it for the rows if you want to do row, but if you want to do this, that's a good one. But,
Yeah. Do you want? Why don't you show them and I'll
well,
put the camera on you?
no, I don't want it.
That's a good point in that you will miss the pulling aspect.
So home gyms don't have pulling. That's kind of the tough.
If you're just like without equipment, pulling is really hard, and pulling is important because
Essential.
that's all those
Back.
postural muscles. It's all the back muscles. That's all from pulling.
And as I said, when you asked me to with the resume, I'm certified TRX trainer, and so this is one of the.
Rob is certified in a lot of different stuff, but
so
one of them
you-
is TRX.
So again, you can also.
Sorry, you guys.
You can also do the 3 different rotations in the shoulder, right? So
Tell me. Go
so
ahead.
if you were to pronate, you're going to be working the upper back, and this is called a high row.
And then you
You
want me
would
to
just-
row?
No.
Or you want
If
me
you
to-
have it here and just pull with this grip, just like
Oh.
that,
Oh.
you're gonna work the upper back.
Okay.
Teres major, teres minor. You feel all that, which is Linnaeus.
Yeah.
Right. And drop your elbows a little bit. Good. So that's easy. You can continue to make it harder by walking forward. And that's working with gravity.
Ooh.
And so that becomes a lot harder to do.
Yeah.
Now, that's the upper back. You do another rotation in the hand here to neutral and row. And that is going to start working your lats a little bit lower into your lats. And you feel that.
Harder.
Yeah. It's also, you get a little bit more bicep there as well.
Yeah.
And then again, you do one more rotation. You're going to get even lower into the lats.
Rotation.
And then you're also going to get a little bit more
More
bicep.
bicep in that.
So those are
Yeah.
3 different rotations, 3 different exercises for your back, and a little bit more bicep included.
How would you do that though if you don't have a TRX?
There are
How would you-
there are a lot of different TRX variations. Like China has made a lot of different things. Americans companies have done that.
What about these?
Those can work.
Because you can you can like put this around something.
You absolutely can. And yeah, it's a good form of resistance. I know a lot of trainers, Chad at Fidel's, he uses those primarily with his clients, which is great. I think Tom Brady uses that a lot. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it's still a great. The reason why I'm not the biggest fan is I prefer gravity. I prefer like constant resistance.
Yeah.
So as you do this,
I travel with these. Like
yeah, no, that's better than better than nothing. But as you pull, you're going to continue to get greater resistance because of how this is made. So as you pull, it gets more resistance as you pull.
oh.
So
So
the resistance continues
that makes
to
sense.
grow because of this.
Yeah.
So that's one of the differences. This is more constant because it's gravity, and you can lock it with where you stand.
That's why that's harder.
Yeah,
that makes
you're
more sense.
You're working with body weight, and you're working with gravity.
Body weight and gravity
Also,
versus
you also
elastic.
have to involve your core a little bit because of
You
know,
do.
So
It's a lot
I
of core
like
work.
TRX. I like fans, but with fans you get more resistance the further you pull.
Yeah. Okay, so
Turn to me.
oh, sorry. The show is just about Rob. Let me see if there was any. Could you hang on one of those TRX bands from a home pull-up bar? Could you hang that?
I would say look. Usually it's they have hooks for doors, but you would hang it from like the base, like the what is it called, near the hinges, like where the door.
The hinge?
Like right there, the corner of the door.
corner.
Yeah, I would do that as opposed to a pull-up bar, unless it's really locked in there.
Unless that pull-up bar is like
really locked
into
in
the
there.
studs,
But,
you know.
The TRX can hold a lot of weight. I don't know how much the pull-up bar can hold, so I'd be careful.
What exercises do you recommend for osteoporosis? Ooh. I mean,
Get 'em. No.
I'm gonna listen.
Yeah.
There's two things that I would recommend. I know you're gonna say weight training, because weight training.
Well, the deadlift they say is really great.
Is
That's
great
what,
for-
Ruth Bader Ginsburg, for instance, her trainer had her doing deadlifts at that age because it involved kind of a full body effect when you're lifting something up like that.
That's interesting.
That's a
I
full
like
body
that.
exercise. So it causes all of your muscle fibers to stress at once, which helps with bone health.
So deadlifts.
But that's
Okay.
get a trainer. Get
it. If you have osteoporosis,
learn to do it the correct way. Don't just wing it.
yeah. So I'm going to show you this actually helps prevent osteoporosis because there's
And
a
not
lot of
drinking milk.
not drinking milk. It's not necessarily
Not because
the,
I'm vegan, because of the studies.
yeah. It doesn't
It
milk.
leaches.
Milk does not do a body
It does
good.
not.
Milk does not
It
do a
doesn't.
body good. But using a weighted vest, 10% of your body weight, what you're doing is you're stressing that bone to where it makes those fibroblasts, whatever they were called. I forgot it. It strengthens the bone. So anytime that you're adding weight to you, you're strengthening your bone. The strongest bones.
Think about growing.
And this is what I was going to say. The strongest bones, this is going to sound awful, are made by obese children because they have all this extra weight on them.
That's the term I'm
as
big
they're-
boned.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm big bone. But as their bones are growing, they have excessive weight on them, and it
Because
makes
they're-
their bones super strong. So think of it kind of like that. Adding extra weight makes your bones extra strong. That's why a lot of people walk around with these weighted vests. I'm going to show you number 2, what I would recommend if you've got osteoporosis or if you're a midlife woman and you're wanting to increase bone density. So we know weight training, we know a weighted vest.
However, if you have screws in you,
Don't do this if you have screws inside your body.
because vibration
Yeah.
is one of the strongest forces on the planet.
Yes. So let me tell you a little bit how this works. This is a vibration plate. Oh my god. Okay. This is a vibration plate.
Didn't you have a remote before?
I had a remote and I lost it in the move.
Shit.
I totally lost it in the move. Oh, come on. Start. Oh my god.
It's buffering.
Is it? And I'm like, go, and it's not.
I think that button all the way on the right, maybe?
Did I like mess it up?
This looks like an on button here.
How?
Oh, wait, now press it again. Press the power again.
I just moved this from downstairs. While Rob gets this to work, let me explain to you
There, it's working.
what actually happens.
No, it's working.
Oh, it's working. Okay, so I'll try to yell because I'm going to be back here. What happens when you step on a vibration plate?
You vibrate.
You vibrate and you can hardly hear me speak. But let me just explain it. So a vibration plate doesn't bounce up and down like this. A vibration plate is like a tilt-a-whirl, so very, very quickly. And what this does, if you've ever been on one of those...
Will they make it harder?
Yeah, sure. If you've ever been on one of those things at like a county fair where you're spinning around in a circle like a centrifuge and you're glued to the back of the thing, that's increasing that gravitational pull.
I was going to say, is this like G-force?
It is. It's increasing the G-force because this is not causing me to bounce off. It's engaging my core, and it's causing me, by tilting, to increase my gravitational pull downward. So I'm sticking to the actual vibration plate. So not only is it helping with lymphatic drainage, so all that water weight, but it's also helping to anything I pick up. This vest, weights are going to have more of a gravitational pull than if I were not on this vibration plate, because that vibration is keeping me off balance and increasing my gravitational pull downward. So if doing nothing else, if you don't do anything else except for step onto a vibration plate, you're already increasing bone density because you're increasing that gravitational pull. Does that make sense?
I have an interesting thought.
Sure.
There is another study where people that fidget, that move a lot, tend to burn up to 1,000 to 2,000. I think it's 1,000 or 2,000 calories more than people that are very calm. I'm a very calm person. I don't fidget at all. But people that are like this, they tend to burn a lot more calories because they fidget and whatnot. Do you think that would burn more calories?
It definitely burns more calories.
Like because of the micro movements?
Because of the micro movements, because you...
Well, the fidgets are micro movements. Like, would this be...
That's a part of it, but
so
it's...
you could actually burn a bit of calories on that?
You can, just by stepping on that. And so any midlife woman who's wanting to work on bone density, those would be my three main things. Lift weights, use a weighted vest.
Stay away from milk.
And work out on a vibration plate. So all of those things are great.
Also, stay away from sugar. I think sugar is not good as well.
Oh, that's like a whole other lecture.
I know,
Don't get me started
I'm
on sugar.
so anti-sugar.
Yeah. Okay, we have a question that says, do you think my bones might be stronger since I lost 112 pounds and used to carrying more weight around? Absolutely. Then if you were not...
But the diet does make a difference. Like if you lose, depending on how you lose weight, but if like malnutritious...
if you're malnourished but overweight.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, like if you're losing weight, like really dangerously fast and whatnot, doesn't that also affect your bones?
Your bones,
yeah.
Yes.
So also losing weight at a certain rate is better than to drop
100%.
it, like super quickly.
That's why
and there's
all
also
those...
a thing with Ozempic, for instance.
Just gonna say that.
Yeah, sorry.
No, all those things with Ozempic, they're causing...
they're causing bone
loss.
Yeah.
Bone loss. And bones are not just here, you guys. Bones are in your face. So you want to keep your cheekbones. You want to protect your bone health in general.
The Ozempic, like you have to be really careful and
Yeah. But to answer that question, not afraid of 50, if you carried 112 extra pounds around for a very long time, you created strong bones. I'm hoping, and I think, I know you are because I know the program that you were on, you didn't lose that weight super, super quickly like people with on the Ozempic shots. And so you probably, if you're on hormone replacement therapy, because that also creates bone loss, or leads to bone loss. So there's lots of factors that come into play when we're talking about osteoporosis and bone loss, but there is that notion of like carrying extra pounds creates stronger bones. And if you're taking that weight off, congratulations on that. 112 pounds, that is a giant feat. Amazing to take that weight off. But if you did it in a healthy way, then the answer is you probably have stronger bones than had you not had that 112 pounds on you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, my opinion.
Yeah, okay. Let's see if we have any more. Plant-based for 7 years. He's completely vegan. And
what was the last bit?
Intermittent fasting, good diet.
I am plant-based for 7 years and weight loss. I did
lose it in 9 months, no shots.
Nice
Great job.
Nice shot.
Great job. Intermittent fasting, good diet, daily exercise.
I like to eat.
And
I used to intermittent fast. I like eating.
so there was a question from Angel. HRT is supposed to help stop bone loss. Yeah, it is. That's absolutely right. Because with the decline in estrogen, get closer to me. It's like I keep like changing my thing. With the decline, that is my clock to take my vitamins. Or to get off of here. But with that decline in estrogen, you also lose bone density by 1 to 3% per year if you're not on hormone replacement therapy. So, lifting weights and having a weighted vest and all of that does not take the place of hormone replacement therapy, because hormones are related to a lot of different things: cognitive decline, heart attacks, all of that with that dip in estrogen. So if you've missed any of those live shows that I've done on hormone replacement therapy, just scroll back through my feed. You'll see them. In fact, maybe I'll just add one to my story so it's easier to find. There's a lot of different, our whole body is connected in so many different ways that there's so many different things that contribute to overall health. Okay.
Cool.
I think we're pretty much done, but if there was any,
Can always do another time.
it's like, where do you want to start? Where do we start? I literally said, stand up.
Yeah.
Start there. Like, there was a whole saying, like, sitting is the new smoking.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, if you're sedentary,
Sorry. Now I've heard that.
if you're sedentary, it's as bad as like you smoking a pack and a half of cigarettes a day. That's what it can do to your.
Just don't do that either.
Yeah, don't do that either. Okay, last question. I can't work out due to muscle disorder, but would like to try a vibro plate. Good ones cost. This one, that vibration plate back there, that's in my linked tree. So if you go to my my main profile, you'll see that little link. Go down there and you'll see vibration plate there. I believe I can get you a giant discount on this one. This is way cheaper than there was another one called Power Plate.
Power Plate, they use them at Equinox and whatnot. Yeah.
This is a much better at-home device than the Power Plate, and much cheaper. Okay, I think that's it. We're going to recap real quick. We knew these 4 different types of exercise. It's not just let's only do cardio or let's only lift weights. You've got to lift weights.
We didn't really get into flexibility or
well, we told a story.
Well, we didn't really do flexibility or what is it called, balance. But
balance.
We can always do something.
This also helps with balance. The vibration plate helps with balance, but balance.
So does single leg, single arm type of things like that when you are forcing yourself to engage your core. So
yeah,
that's a little bit.
We do a lot of. Yeah, there we go. Let's touch on it a little bit, right? We do a lot of single arm exercises with this pulley machine.
Which also gets your brain thinking a little bit more, so the neuromuscular attachment to the exercise becomes greater. So you
like
can
that. So it's better for your brain too?
No, it's better. It's the you'll get a better response, nervous muscular response.
Oh, I see.
Because you're having to concentrate single arm.
Okay, so doing single arm or single leg exercises
gets a greater neuromuscular response.
I like that, and works on your balance, which is why, like me personally,
takes longer though.
It takes longer to what? To work on
because you're doing one arm.
Oh yeah, it does. It doubles the time.
It's, yeah.
But it does help a lot, I think, with core strength and
internal, external obliques, internal, external muscular fibers, because the single arm aspect of the balance.
100%. So before we get off of here, how I work out is I'm at the gym. I work out 5 to 6 days a week, and even on the days that I'm not working out, I'll go on a. See, I call this not a workout.
Yeah, I don't call hiking.
I don't call this.
Everyone says the same thing to me, like, "Oh, you hike every day." I'm like, "No, I go for a walk every day."
Yeah, I don't really call this I don't call this a workout because if I only did this,
fun.
It's not going to be optimally healthy. So but I would say even on my non-workout days.
So you consider workout weightlifting?
I consider workout conditioning of some sort, but not necessarily like if I'm in a Pilates class or a yoga class, I consider that a workout. Lifting weights, I consider a workout. This is a workout, but for me, it's,
because I consider a workout lifting weights because that's me. That's me.
Yeah.
Like when I
So
play
don't want-
tennis, I don't consider it a workout. I consider it fun.
even though it's a workout. So that's kind of the same. I don't consider this a workout because I'm hiking and I'm going up and down the hills with my dog and my husband, and we're talking, but we're talking in
I'm like, we're walking.
Yeah,
This is a walk.
we're still doing that zone 2 cardio because it's hard. You can carry on a
I think it's
conversation.
also a bit of a mindset too. If you look at things as a workout, you may not want to do them, but if you look at them as, we're just going for a walk up a hill, you'll do it better.
That's
You'll
why
do it
walking
more readily.
That's why walking is always the best place to start. Always the best place to start. So me personally, I do yoga probably twice a week. I lift weights 3 times to 5 times a week. It just depends. I'm doing a Pilates class tomorrow, and I do that probably once or twice a week. Like, it just kind of depends.
I weight train 7 days a week.
And he weight trains 7 days a week.
If I didn't, I'd be bored.
Yeah, yeah.
For me,
I
it's
like
like
to
a
mix
part
it
of my
up.
routine.
So I mix.
And also I have a plan.
Yeah, he's got like a whole thing. But I like to mix up flexibility with weight training, with mobility, with balance work, because those are the 4 things that we really need. And conditioning. I use this a lot for conditioning, up and down.
It's called holistic.
Yeah, it's full body.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much for
You're
being
welcome.
here, Rob. Next time we'll have Rob on, and we'll actually do like a workout routine.
Yeah, I did legs today, so I'm not that mobile.
Yeah, he came in today. He's lounging on the couch. I'm like,
Yeah, with Oliver.
looks like you already worked out. Okay, so last question. I was told stair climbing machine is very good for OP. Do you agree?
What is OP?
What is OP for? I don't know what that means.
Osteoporosis.
Oh, osteoporosis.
Probably.
Probably, but I would still
I think
do
there's
it. I'd still do it with like a
But
weight.
she's doing essentially steps. She's
She's doing
climbing
steps.
which is so probably.
Yes. I would say yes. That's great. Better than flat walking.
Mm-hmm. Also, your heart rate's going to be up.
Your heart rate will be up a little bit more. You're going to be using more muscle fibers than if you're just walking flat.
Can I give you a definitive yes or no? But I think it's yes.
Yeah. But I would also try to add, once you get the stair climbing done, add some weight to it, whether you're using little weights or whatever. Okay, he's leaving.
I gotta go.
Okay, bye.
No, you keep talking.
Thanks for
I
joining,
zapped the wrong
everybody.
button.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
God, it's 1:07.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too fun with you.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys later. You'll hear from me in my stories. I might microneedle my eyes a little bit later and do it on a live show. I don't know. I'll let you know. Okay, bye everybody.
See you.
Thanks for joining. Thanks, Rob.